Happy days.
We
I
are
think we're
live.
live.
All right. Okay, mate. Yeah, good to see you.
Likewise, Leighton. And we're just talking off on the Google Meets that you're away at the moment.
I'm away at the moment. I was with my a group of the lads in Marbella from Thursday to Monday, and thankfully a family holiday kind of aligned with that. So I just met my family in Malaga Airport, and we drove about an hour north up to Nerca. So we're here up until Sunday.
Nice one. And we were chatting briefly about Spain as well. I don't know if you want to touch upon the airports. That was
Oh
really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, well, I'll give the viewers a second to think about this question. Out of all the airports in Europe, where would you think Malaga is on the top list in terms of the highest amount of volume of people going through it? And I assumed, and Ryan assumed, it would be top three, top five, but it's actually the 25th, which I found shocking.
Yeah. I would have thought with the tourism in Spain that it would have been definitely higher.
Because I was in the airport and I was looking it up. I was like, "There's so many people here," and it's just plane after plane after plane. But I suppose it's probably only like that for 3 months of the year if you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder what Spain in the wintertime do they have a because the climate may change a bit. I wonder if they have like a strategy that they have, or do people go to Spain in the wintertime, or
Well, I don't. I think there's a little bit of a little bit of business flowing through, but I wouldn't say it's much. And then on the tourist side, I'd say it's mainly just like really budget holidays or just retirees who maybe bought an apartment out here years ago or something.
yeah. And when I was also there, I noticed that the roads were in great condition because they have. I think well, this may not be any correlation, but I think they have a big automotive industry as well, which I didn't know when I was in Spain. I think Fiat is there, or I'm not 100%
I
sure.
see it. I think it's Italian. Yeah.
Excuse me, not Fiat. What there's a brand. There's a brand. My bad. Sorry, I'm a little bit still just back from Connemara as well on the west
Yeah,
coast of Ireland. So still getting back into routine, but
I love Connemara, man. That's I haven't been out there in probably about 4 years, but because it's such a trek. If it actually really is such a trek, like I don't mind going down to like the southwest to like Clare and stuff. But you had a good time.
yeah, great time. Was there with family, and the weather was pretty good too, which was definitely a bonus.
Yeah, that's sick, man.
Yeah, I think this the Seat, what not Fiat, Seat, SEAT. So Seat was the main Spanish car brand, and also Cupra as well. I think, which I've seen around Dublin a good bit, or Irish, or two Spanish uh, automotive car companies, which is interesting. I know, yeah, all good. Well, that's yeah. We're talking a lot about Spain, but what's more important is Leighton is your story, which I'd love to chat about a bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. Do you want me to kind of get into it, or do you want
Yeah.
to
Well,
kind of go for like pinpoint it?
yeah. What I'd love to
I
know.
suppose just to give it a little bit of background. I mean,
Perfect. I think we're
I
breaking
was
up
going to
here on the
say, why don't we
software. My
kind of
bad. Excuse me,
share?
Leighton. One sec. All
It's all
good.
good.
Good to go now.
I was gonna say, let's put a pinpoint in it in terms of like when we met first in like the first Leading Social.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Leighton is an Irish entrepreneur, managing director of Leading Social, a performance marketing agency specializing in helping Shopify brands scale profitably through paid advertising and retention marketing. The agency focus on merging finance with marketing to drive sustainable, profitable growth rather than just chasing vanity metrics. Leighton was previously the advertising manager for Ask Paul, where he played a key role in the company's significant growth. And it just says a bit more here. Leading Social is headquartered in Dublin and works with a variety of brands across Ireland, the US, Europe, including Sosu Cosmetics, uh, and there's a number of other companies here, Vacious, Fada, and Mantra. The agency utilizes media buying, creative strategy, and financial modeling to help e-commerce brands increase revenues while maintaining profitability. Outside the agency, Leighton is active on platforms such as TikTok and Instagram, where he shares insights about business, e-commerce, and finance. He is also known for vlogging about his experience as a young agency owner and frequently provides advice for online business success.
Yeah, I suppose that is true. Yeah. Yeah,
Which is
that's me,
great.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. But we met in Leading Social. You initially were in advertising, working in advertising and Leading Social, and we were.
Yeah. Well, I
I was with
suppose
from there.
Yeah, I suppose. So let me think. That's probably like what, circa 2017, 18?
Yes, yeah, yeah. 2018, 19, I think. But similar.
That's, yeah. So I think so. Let's see. Let's go all the way back, right? So basically, if you want to, I'll try to summarize the story in a couple of minutes. But I was probably like just late teenager, like 17, 18, really falling in love with seeing all of these online entrepreneurs. And back then, everybody was like going to Bali, and they were like, I was just like absolutely amazed that people were able to create an income off your laptop. And like I was working in an arcade at the time. I was probably in my first year in Maynooth, and like all I had ever known was you get a job, and that correlates with your payment, and there's no like way around that. You can never work while you're abroad, or you can never like make an income while you are asleep and all that kind of stuff. And that really just kind of lit up a fire up my ass, and just really invoked a huge amount of curiosity on, is this true? Like, because back then, online education, online courses were seen as a scam. Like I bought the very first Thai Lopez for, I think it was €1,000. I think I literally got like my Fantasia paycheck, which was like €800, and I had 200 from the previous one, and I just said all in, and I bought this online course, which was seen like people buy online courses weekly now, but back then, like nobody was buying courses, and like you were laughed at if you did, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I also signed up for the Tai Lopez social media marketing course, and I think the 67 steps as well.
Yeah, it's so funny, man, because you can just kind of tell like who's an OG and who like signed up way back when, that kind of way. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's so many lads that have like got into that course and have done really cool things, and yeah, it's just funny. But yeah, I think that was like the first wave of online courses was Ty Lopez.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't mean to interrupt as well. Definitely. I feel like that was there's been a number of ones, but when I suppose when with traditional education in Ireland being such an important thing, and in the US probably courses are a bit more seen as a bit more popular, where in Ireland it's probably a bit more not as popular to do an online course, especially from someone that's maybe not didn't go through the traditional Irish curriculum. Or
Yeah, do you know what I think has really had a positive impact on that has been how the fitness industry has evolved, because now it's perfectly fine to have like an online fitness coach. And I think that's quite accepted across the board. And I think that kind of helps with this idea of people, paying for online education as a whole, because people have now wholly accepted, I think probably after C19 as well, that like, we can like fully learn and function on and function from a work life perspective all online. And yeah, it's just interesting to see how quick it's evolved. Like it really has only been like less than 10 years.
yeah, definitely. And have you noticed in Ireland, particularly in the UK, that courses changed? Have you noticed that? I know there's still traditional education. Maybe traditional is the wrong word, but education in Ireland. But have you noticed that more people are taking courses that you're chatting to, younger guys online, or even girls or women or men?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that first wave of like whoever was doing the online course thing, let's say 2018 to like 21, really did get like a really solid, bang for their buck in terms of what they paid for. But what's after happening is like, there's so many people that are selling information and so many people that are selling education. And I think we're really going through almost like a trust recession online. And it's really hard to like understand, because it's really easy to market yourself as like an A player with all this experience. And, it's only the older I got, and because of going into business myself, I understand, I can see how he said like he had like a 7-figure business, but like, 7 figures in sales and, 10 grand in profit is, that's not something really to brag about, but people can, make things sound a lot better than they are. But regardless, I think the situation now is that there is a trust recession, and there's a lot of information out there, and you really got to do your research in terms of who you're going to associate yourself with, who you're going to learn from, and make sure that you're getting really strong information. But I think there has been a net positive. I do think there's been a net positive. I think the ability to have access to so much information, which realistically you could also get from YouTube, but I suppose there is that kind of commitment you make when you pay for something. But yeah, overall, I think there's a net positive, and I have seen like dozens of young lads and women make a drastic change in their life and be able to create an income online based off online education. But honestly, man, like, and because you were in it, like nobody was taking that leap in like 2017, 18. Nobody was giving money to a stranger online.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely evolved over time.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose to go back to the story. So yeah, got really excited about online marketing. Got really excited about this idea of creating an income. And yeah, my first goal was obviously get like your first €500 a month, and I did that quite successfully. Probably for about 3 years, I was able to manage maybe between 5 and 10 clients myself, and they lived a pretty happy life. Yeah, spent some time in France. Was going to the States every couple of months, and yeah, it was just a one-man band. Really enjoying what I was doing. And one of those clients was Ask Paul. So Ask Paul is a financial advisor based in Dublin. Are you familiar with Ask Paul, Ryan?
Yeah, yeah, I think he's based in Stillorgan. His office, is it?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, fabulous building. And that was a relative. It was a relatively small brokerage, like for compared to what it is now. And yeah, I kind of went in and originally was working on one of his other businesses, which just specializes on pensions. And he started putting up these videos online for the main Ask Paul business, and I was like, well, let's just put a bit of ad spend behind the Ask Paul business. And I created this like a huge like content marketing strategy, which was based around like, one video was for authority, one video was for social proof, one video was. And we were really careful about the content we were using. We were throwing in a lot of him talking on stage, and we were trying to get a lot of testimonials in. And it was the first kind of real content strategy I think that was done well in Ireland. I mean, Joe Doyle, the construction guy, he was kind of one of the first pioneers of that stuff too. And there was a couple of other guys, but I think we really, really accelerated we really kind of changed the game on how like financial advisors and service businesses approach online marketing. Because back then, I think a lot of the older guys in suits were laughing at him, saying, "Oh, he's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he's on TikTok." But anyway, accelerated about. Like I then worked really closely in that business. Like I was on a salary in the business. I spent a lot of time in the office in Stillorgan, and like we just really went hard on growing that for probably they go to 2.5 years. And and then yeah, we had great crack doing that. And me personally, just from a fulfillment perspective, I was like, okay, cool. I think I'd like to move on to something else. And me and Paul were saying, okay, well, look, why don't we set up a business together? And I said, okay, cool. I pressed and think I could scale that up pretty quick. And in the same time, we kind of noticed that Jamie was getting, because obviously Jamie was my first mentor, one of my best friends for many years. Jamie was
yeah,
kind of winding down on
maybe
the
those
Leighton
don't know,
social side in
Leighton.
terms of his own energy. He wasn't giving a lot of.
Sorry,
Sorry?
Leighton, I think you've got cut off there. I was just saying, Jamie was a guest in the podcast, I think 2 episodes ago. Just for anyone listening, if you want to go back, Jamie White, he's an Irish entrepreneur, and yeah, he was in the podcast, I think 2, 3 episodes ago. I need to double check that. But yeah, it was a great episode, and that's who Leighton's referring to. We both worked in leading social before, and it was Jamie's company. I was an intern, and Leighton was working in paid advertising. And then now Leighton is managing director of that company, which is a great story in itself. Sorry, you were chatting about it there.
Yeah, yeah. But did you and Jamie talk about the Leading Social much at all, or no?
We definitely touched upon it. Yeah, touched upon it, his story. And yeah, it was great. But Leighton, I'd also love to know, if you don't mind me asking, maybe growing up, because did entrepreneurship, I know you were into some mixed martial arts as well, or am I wrong in saying that? Or excuse me, I'd love to know, because you grew up outside of Dublin, maybe for people outside of Dublin listening to the podcast that maybe moved here and now you have a business here, I'd love to know, were you always into business growing up as a kid, or was it?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I was. I don't know if I knew I was always into business, but I was always definitely really curious in terms of like building things. I was always building like really kind of crappy apps or little sites. Like I was making Shopify sites when I was like 14, 15. So I was definitely really curious, and I just had a lot of natural excitement on like how people were building things. From a business perspective, definitely, like I was the kid that was selling sweets in school, like, and I was actually running a good little business in school. I was probably making about 50 quid a week selling like Mars bars and Lucozade, and that ran from like second year right up until like I was doing that probably till the end. In terms of the martial arts side of things, so yeah, I think that's where I learned a lot on the discipline front. The longer I'm in business, I am definitely understanding how just pure resilience and discipline and just kind of like, just showing up every day matters. And especially when you run a marketing agency, especially when you run a marketing, like I've essentially had a marketing agency, whether I was a freelancer, whether leading social for like whatever it is, 7 years. You really, I can tell if a business is going to succeed from the first month working with a client, because they either show up or they don't. They either they look at the reports, they work closely with us, or they don't. And off the back of C19, a lot of e-commerce businesses really struggled because they had a lot of growth because there was so much money being pumped into the economy, and off the back of that, they were buying all of this stock. But then once things kind of went back to normal, they were left with all this stock and that they couldn't flog, and that meant to them discounting it. And a lot of them actually, like the majority of them in the states for sure, didn't make it through. It was a very stressful time. But martial arts definitely, that was like my first dream, was to like be a professional martial artist. And I was in a gym called Team Rhino, which is in Finglas. So I would get my dad to drive me from Drogheda to Finglas, probably like 5 times a week to train. And yeah, it definitely laid a big mark on me. And if I ever do have children, hopefully, that's the first thing I'm going to put them in, is definitely like mixed martial arts. Did you do any training?
No, mixed. I did some judo growing up in school. I did one class of judo, but I only got into, my godson's doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the moment, but I only got into mixed martial arts recently. I did my first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. I think I did Taekwondo as well, but is that,
Yeah,
I'm sure that's a mixed martial art, if I'm wrong, or,
yeah,
and
it is.
yeah, and then trying Thai boxing, Thai kickboxing this week. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like. I'm from a bit of a hurling, rugby, football background, bit of golf, but never sort of mixed martial arts. So it'll be interesting to see that side of things.
Nice.
Or it is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm raging. I've kind of dropped the ball on the mixed martial arts training in the last kind of 2 years. I'll go to a class maybe like once every 2 months just to say hi to the lads and just try to get the training in. But yeah, it's definitely something I'd love to kind of integrate back into like my lifestyle at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd love to know. You mentioned Drogheda as well. That's somewhere where you grew up from a younger
Yeah,
age in Drogheda as well, and yeah,
yeah.
you spent most of your, because you were traveling from Finglas. I'd love to know what was it like growing up in Drogheda.
Drogheda was good, man. Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah. I mean, I moved there when I was probably like 6. My parents originally had a house in North Dublin, and then they moved up to Drogheda about kind of 2 years later. And yeah, Drogheda's a really fun place, man. It's kind of a mix of town living and then also like countryside, because back, especially when I was growing up, it was just fields. Like now, in fairness, there's a lot of houses, but yeah, no, it's a really cool town. I don't know if I would see myself settling down there. But I do think, like, I actually went to school in Bettystown, which is like the beach town right beside Drogheda, and yeah, it's a really cool area.
Nice. To Dublin for mixed martial arts. Which one was it? By the it wasn't in Finglas. It was kickboxing, or was it
Finglas was like an MMA slash
MMA?
jiu-jitsu.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah,
And
and that
and you got,
was called Team Rhino.
nice one, nice. And you got used to traveling to Dublin. Did that kind of scratch an itch? Were you kind of looking to get to the city, or you went to
Yeah,
secondary school
yeah,
in Drogheda,
yeah.
or
Yeah, so once I turned like 21 or whatever, I like immediately rented a room in Finglas actually with one of my mates, Nav, and yeah, I just kind of immediately never. I actually didn't go home for like 5 years. I just kind of went from that room, then I went to a house with a couple of the lads, then I went to an apartment in Grand Canal Dock, and then yeah, then I went kind of traveling, and yeah, it. Yeah, I do love the city. Although I'm not getting into politics now, but I just feel like it's not. It's just it's declining. I don't enjoy going into the city as much as I used to. It's kind of rough in there sometimes, man.
Yeah, especially after what kind of happened 2 years ago or last year, was it? The riots and
It's two
few
years ago
things
now.
2 years ago. Yeah, I won't get into it too much. I don't want to.
Kill the
Um,
buzz.
yeah, I don't want to kill the buzz, but yeah, I'd love to know what was it. So you were in Drogheda, you were traveling up to Dublin for mixed martial arts, and you were in secondary school, presuming in Drogheda, and then university wise, were you looking to go to college? Were you in college in Dublin as well, or?
No, so I did not want to go to I did not want to go to university. It was like the last thing that I wanted to do. I really did just want to fully train MMA 100% at that time. I was just convinced that it was, and I, in all fairness, I've never loved something more, maybe my girlfriend, but I've never loved something more than MMA, than I did from the ages of whatever 12 to 18. I was just absolutely obsessed with it. And yeah, just besides my dad driving me up and back, I was never really kind of fully encouraged to engross myself into it. My parents kind of said, you still need to go to college. Like you can't just become a professional fighter. Definitely need to lay a background and or lay a foundation even. And yeah, so off the back of that, like I think I got like my seventh option on my CAO, which was an arts degree in Maynooth, and I completed the first year and I failed the first year pretty bad, and and then I went on a J1 for the summertime after that. And once I kind of went back into doing first year again, and I was just like, it's not for me. I'm not going. So as a result of that, what happened was I just kind of stopped going to the lectures. I think it was only like 2 or 3 modules that I failed, so I didn't have much to do that week. Because I only had like 2 or 3 modules, but it was then I just really kind of knuckled down into the Ty. I bought the Ty Lopez course before I went on the J1, and I just kind of absolutely obsessed over it for that kind of semester one period. So whatever, like September right up until Christmas, and it was then I got up to making a bit of an income. I think I was able to make maybe like 2,000 a month. I probably had 4 clients paying me 500 quid, and that's what really kind of steamrolled it into this world. I've actually never really kind of thought about it that way. It's the first time I've kind of put it part by part in the timeline. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. I was like, I am not doing these modules again, and just put all my energy and focus into trying to get some clients. And what that meant back then was cold calling local restaurants. And I remember like cold calling local restaurants. And my first one, I actually told a bit of a porcupine. I said like, so the course was telling you, go in there and try to get like your first client to allow you to do work for free for a month and then upsell them. So I went in and said, here, look, I'm doing a college project on how to social media market business. And I went in there and I took some photos on like a camera my friend Sam gave me, and like uploaded them to their Facebook page. And then after 4 weeks, I said, "Oh, do you want me to keep doing this?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, that's going to be 2,000 a month." And they just immediately were like, this whatever age I was, going in there saying that figure." And yeah, I kind of learned the lesson there. And then I kind of kept going, emailing a lot of like estate agents and solicitors, and then eventually got like a couple to pay me like 400 or 500 quid a month.
Yeah, very good, very good. It seems like the big turning point for you was that course, because it seems like that was the, I don't say the key that unlocked things, but it was probably a moment where like a hero's journey sort of thing, where you figured out or met the mentor, or maybe I'm wrong in saying that. But
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, no, like you're totally right. I mean, I think the turning point, no, the turning point for me was probably getting that first sale. Like the first one was like a estate agent who paid 400 quid a month. And when that moment happened, and like I was like, I can exchange services for money, and it's like I don't have to like clock in or clock in. Like that was just such a click moment. And then throughout my life, yeah, there would have been many other moments that were kind of to be honest. Another turning point was walking into the original Leading Social office and seeing all these young people on laptops. Like my only exposure to, like, and it probably sounds ridiculous, but it probably just tells you like, where I kind of come from. But like my exposure is always like to like my nana like worked in a factory. My mom worked in like a house, like St. Michael's House, which is like a home for disabled people. So I've always just seen people kind of clocking in, clocking out, being busy all day. I never understood like knowledge work or consulting. It was always like you're doing stuff with your hand, or you're doing stuff with other people. So walking into that office for the first time and understanding, that was like my first exposure to this online revolution, that like people have all these businesses of people just working on laptops all day, which was a huge turning point again for me.
Yeah, that's great, Leighton. And that was so. Just to put perspective, you would have left secondary school, and what year was that? Or
17.
2017, and you would have started university then, similar year, and then you bought the course 2018, or
Yeah, I got the course 2018. Yeah, I bought the course the first year. Yeah, I bought it just the year after first year. Yeah, at the end of first year in college.
nice. And then your first paying client that year was 2019, or
I think I think I was doing the I think I was doing like the restaurant stuff, and I think I probably got my first client probably like 5 months in.
yeah, wow. Did you celebrate? You mentioned that was the turning point. Did you celebrate, or was it just I kind of got the next one, the next thing, or
Well, like my mom and my nana and everybody was shocked, and they were like, "Are you sure this is okay? Like, do you know what you're gonna do for this lady? Like, are you sure that she's after giving you this money? Like, you better deliver on it." So it's probably actually almost like a bit of like scared, almost being like, okay, I better make this work. And then yeah, there's probably a bit of a lag for a couple of weeks. I was actually doing a lot of work with Jamie. Like Jamie had some clients that weren't appropriate for the agency, so he'd refer them to me, and I'd look after them. And yeah, just slowly kind of built up a bit of a reputation in Dublin for like just Facebook ads and marketing.
yeah, that's great, especially coming from. I know there's probably people outside of Dublin now, and I know Drogheda is close to Dublin, about an hour, 45 minutes, an hour from the city centre.
About an
Those
hour, yeah.
probably in Kerry or Cork or even Connemara or the west of Ireland or Donegal, or looking to come to Dublin, maybe start a business. Yeah, yeah, it's just a great story as well. I suppose it's easy to look over and say that it's you know but yeah, you've come definitely, and that's not even the end of it. There's still so much to go, and I'd love to know
Yeah.
how Jamie as well.
How which?
Sorry, I think I'd love to know how you met Jamie. Did you meet Jamie after the course, or
Yeah, so I met Jamie when. So let me think. I'm trying to figure out how I found out about him first. No, I'll tell you how I found out about him first. Right. So in Dublin Tech Summit, so I think I left, I missed college or whatever, and I went to the Dublin Tech Summit. Did you go to that one that Jamie spoke at?
I think I may have been there. I can't remember the year, but I may have been to the Tech Summit. I'm not sure if it was the one that Jamie spoke at.
It was probably 2017 or 18. But anyway, I went to. I think there was only one social media talk. I think all of it was around whatever the technology or whatever. But there was only one social media talk, and obviously after kind of getting interested in the space, I went to that talk, and I heard Jamie just kind of speaking about the agency. And back then, Gary V was like a big reference point, and Jamie brought Gary V to Dublin. But yeah, that was my first exposure to Jamie. And then shortly after that, I think I might have even asked a question. But then shortly after that, I actually met him in the toilet, and I said, "Dude, like, wow, great talk! Like, I'm really impressed." And then I think after that, I just kind of badgered him on Instagram for a while. And back then, it was, I'm not going to say it was easier to get a mentor, but there wasn't a lot of 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids like badgering successful entrepreneurs, saying, "Hey, I would love to get you for a coffee, or I'd love to, do a bit of work for you for free," and all that kind of stuff. So, after a couple of weeks of that, he actually invited me for a coffee, and I just told him like, hey, like I've got this thing going, and got a couple of clients. I really would like to kind of ramp it up, and yeah, the relationship kind of went from there, and we went on to do so many things together. We had a little bit of a party company going on. We did a lot of nights in Dublin together. I helped out with a lot of like fresh resolutions to start a lot of those events. I would have done marketing for, and then I also worked in the and yeah, so that's kind of the Leighton and Jamie story.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's wonderful that you're both in the podcast as well. You can kind of go back and make it, if you're listening to this episode, you can go back and maybe listen to Jamie's. It'd be interesting to hear both your stories, both entrepreneurs as well.
Yeah, I will, man, for sure, definitely.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
to check. And how did you meet Jamie?
I met Jamie through I think family friends, but I think also met him through I think social media, and I used to do some nightclub promotion for.
Did you?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I did the odd time.
For what club?
I was back. Um, Dandelion, I think it was.
Yeah,
I forget the name. Let me just double check the name. I think it was
there
from
was a
Mark,
dance. Yeah.
entrepreneur called Mark Jacobs as well. They're business partners in Youth Nation.
Yes. Oh
Uh,
yes, you were around for the Ute Nation stuff. I wasn't around for that.
yeah, yeah. I would have left secondary school in 2013. So I think it was when I was back from. I went to the University of Galway. Now it was before National University of Galway, NUIG. Um,
I've
when
heard
I was
those stories. Yeah, I heard that was a great time to be in Dublin.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Let me just double check the name, but it wasn't underneath. It was something nights. Let me just. I'm gonna spend a second here. Just 1 sec. Yeah, midnight events,
Oh
part
yeah,
time while I was coming back. I think it was in between going from secondary school to university that summer. I think I worked. Uh, did some nights, and it was good fun. Jamie was great, and Mark were great. And I kind of bit I kind of thought about. I can't remember. Kind of that entrepreneurship bug. Kind of seeing people in Dublin kind of doing interesting
yeah,
things,
yeah.
making a living in an interesting way, or a different way than maybe a the financial industries, legal industries, tech industries,
Yeah.
even the fitness industry as well. Just seeing people doing it in a marketing space, media space was definitely fun.
Yeah, I'd say yeah that 83 Harcourt Street building was a great place to be circa like 2011, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And yeah, yeah. I was only in there very. I think I was in there maybe less than 5 times before the.
I've heard some crazy stories about what was going on in there, but I won't.
Okay, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. And but I'd love to know, Leighton, after you met Jamie and you both worked together, did he? And you don't have to get into specifics here because I know this is your own business and it's completely private. But I'd love to know, did he mention to join Leading Social, or did you just integrate both your services together, or?
So no, Jamie was fully kind of losing energy with it. He didn't. I think I don't know if he went to Bali yet, but I know he did when he went through a period which he speaks about publicly all the time where he was really burnt out, and like I knew that from working so closely with him. And it was just when me and Paul were saying, "Look, let's do something together." I actually think it was Paul's idea. I think Paul said, "Well, here, what's Jamie doing with Leading Social?" And I said, all right, yeah, I'll ask him and we'll figure it out. And yeah, we went through the process, we made a deal, and yeah, Jamie went off on his thought. I think Jamie always has had multiple businesses going on, but I think he personally was just kind of not interested in the direction the online marketing world was going. So yeah, we took it
Yeah, and
over,
I'd love to know, Leighton.
and then yeah, the first kind of year or two, yep.
Sorry, I think the signal broke up again. My bad. I may have to change over to. You mentioned Riverside. I may have to change over to that platform next time. But I'd love to. You mentioned that you did a deal with Jamie. I think that's before we got cut
No, it's
off.
like, Yeah, so yeah, did a deal with Jamie, and then yeah, we just kind of went from there. And the first year or two, we were kind of, I was trying to figure out like what direction I wanted to take it in, and I was kind of doing a bit of everything. So a bit of content, a bit of like lead generation, working with SaaS companies, naturally with the as Paul background was focusing on service businesses, but it was in that kind of first year and a half, 2 years, we got a couple of e-commerce brands, and we just got really strong results for them. And yeah, since then, I made the commitment to just really focus on e-commerce brands. And I do a bit of consulting for like service businesses, but the agency is solely focused on e-commerce brands. And yeah, we've just really nailed that down. Like we've got like all of our blueprints from a paid advertising perspective, from a content creation perspective, from an email marketing perspective, from a financial forecasting perspective. Like I really think the knowledge that I have, like I just have such a full circle knowledge of what actually needs to happen step by step on how to grow a brand. And I've kind of got full confidence in that base of just being exposed to so many. And look, naturally, the first year, the first couple of months, made a couple of bad mistakes. But yeah, the whole team now, even our kind of training process, our onboarding process, is just to make the strongest e-commerce team in Ireland and hopefully in the States one day.
Yeah, that's great. And would love to know briefly. I know that you worked as an advertising manager for Ask Paul. Was he one of your clients while you were before leading social, or?
So he was one of my clients before leading social, yeah, and we made a bit of progress after a couple of about 3 or 4 months, and then I went full time in the Ask Paul workforce, and yeah, that was a sole focus of mine for 2 years, was to just grow that business as strong as possible, and yeah, and then naturally, then after that, that's when the leading social conversation came up.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. The way it's your journey's fascinating. The way you went from being a college student to self-employed, having your own business, then from working with Paul, Ask Paul as one of your clients. Then was it after that that you went to work as an employee in Leading Social, or before?
No, so no, the employee Indeed and social was around the
Before.
was before. That was like around. That was probably like I think that was actually the summer before college. I don't know if that makes sense though, but I'll have to kind of go back and look at that. But yeah, it was before college. I think I was there. I think I'd only planned to be there for a couple of months. It was like a 6 month contract where I was before college or something.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's amazing to see that you took over the business. So were there the employees still there? Because you would have.
It was definitely probably smaller than what you remember, because there was a bit of a downsizing going on. So yeah, it was by the time like a year or two passed, it was a completely different business. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Wow, that's something else. And you mentioned the most exciting thing, well, for me personally, you mentioned you're going to expand it to the US.
Mm.
Is that just is that something that you've had, or you've clients there at the moment, or?
Yeah, so I honestly, man, I think for the last kind of 6 or 7 years, I've always had at least one US client. I don't know how I find them, and I don't know how they find me, but there's always been one. And the last kind of 2 years, building up that client roster has been a really strong focus of mine. Um, just because, like, I just like the way they operate. I like they're very fast forward thinking. They they're just really creative. I just like the mentality. I like the way they work. They're always on 24/7. And yeah, I just feel like the cultures align a lot. And I spend a lot of time over there too, so it's cool to visit them. But going forward for the next kind of 2 3 years, yeah, that'll continue to be a focus. But yeah, for some reason, additionally, like, yeah, maybe it's because I'm going around speaking at events and networking circles, we have actually picked up a lot of the Irish brands over the last year too. So um just balancing that, what way we're going to do it, because obviously I think the ideal scenario would be to have like a full US team to deal with the US clients, but right now the Irish people are working across both.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And if you don't mind me asking, the expansion to America, but is there anything else that's exciting you about the business at the moment, or? other areas of
Well,
life?
man, I mean, it's a really interesting time to be an agency owner. If you think about the last, like, if you think about it, like just agencies forever, it's like an agency owner's dream was always to have, like, the big fancy office, a bunch of people, and yeah, just have like the whole culture and the vibe, and that was kind of set by the likes of Ogilvy, or all the big guys always had that. Even, yeah, like they're always out there. But now with the technology and how fast AI is evolving, and like the ability for a team of three to be able to charge less and probably do a better job than like a team of 15 in a big like New York office who are charging probably like literally 5 times more. There's a really interesting gap happening in probably all service businesses, but yeah, particularly marketing agencies. And I'm really aware of that now. From a people perspective, I need to make sure I don't build on too much, because I don't want to be in a situation where I have to let a lot of people go, because I really don't know what technology is going to come out next month, which will literally allow me to do the work of maybe two full-time people. So I'm really interested to see how the agency landscape will evolve. I'm interested to see how I'll integrate that in terms of my business. Like, besides, like, even on the marketing front, like, from a lot of our creative research and a lot of the creative strategy we are building out agents that can do that, and honestly, they're doing them pretty cool and pretty better as well. So the main thing I'm looking forward to is the how agencies are going to evolve in this new kind of AI era, because it's changing really quick, man. Everything is changing, and a lot of, like, I mean, you're seeing it across the tech industry. Like, there's the layoffs, and the need for people in the office just isn't the same anymore. And yeah, I'm just really excited, and I'm happy that I am curious, and I am really excited about that, because I think the last time we spoke, when we met in town that time, I think I was probably in a bit of a bad. I think I was saying I was in a bad mood. I think, wasn't I?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think yeah, I think there was, yeah, I think there was
Well,
maybe, yeah.
from see, to be honest with you, man, I'm a marketer. I like marketing. I like strategy, and I like growing businesses. So I'm actually not too fond of, like, honestly, even the sales side of things. But I like working with the clients. So yeah, naturally, like, when you're growing any business, and look, every business owner faces that. Like, you go through troughs where you almost hate your own business. But yeah, this kind of different outlook as to creating, like, one of these first kind of AI integrated service businesses, because yourself, like, there's going to be loads of businesses out there that are like one person that are doing like hundreds of million. Like, they're actually just will. I'm not saying that's going to be us, but it's just interesting to see how the technology will change. And yeah, I've got a lot of excitement for the next kind of 5 years, and yeah, just seeing how everything evolves.
Yeah, that's great, Leighton. And is there one piece of advice that you go back and give to your younger self, or even a word of wisdom, maybe not a piece of advice, or just,
Yeah, I mean, I would probably, like, I think at the beginning, like, even when I was a freelancer, I was probably getting a really frustrated and a bit angry that things were not happening as fast as I wanted them to be. Like, transparently, like like what I like from a financial perspective and from a business perspective this year, like, I genuinely thought I was going to achieve 4 years ago. So when you're constantly setting these targets and they're not happening, it's a bit of a downer. But I would definitely say, just be patient, which is genuinely hilarious coming from me, because 2-3 years ago I was the most impatient person. But I would say be patient, but move with, like, extreme urgency. Just move quick, 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 but be patient on when the result will happen. So what I mean by that is, I really try to clear my inbox every day, get back to everything, try to take off whatever's on my to-do list, and not let too much bleed in tomorrow. But I don't let the result of that get me down too much either, because I've also the amount of time that I've been in, I've seen so many like businesses and people, like be really successful, and then a year or two passes and you never hear from them again. So, and probably in my early 20s, I compared myself to a lot of the guys I probably saw online and got frustrated over that. But yeah, the truth is like, everything's all good. Have a bit of fun along the way, and yeah, just be patient.
Yeah, great, Leighton. I appreciate it. That's 45 minutes. So, and I'd love to know where people can find you. If there's anyone listening that's interested in your services, or maybe just interested in following along your journey, is there a particular place they can find you? Or
Yeah, so if you're interested in the services, go ahead and check out the website, leadensocial.com. You can learn loads there. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Leighton Penrose. And then if you want to digest some of the content, there's lots of content on YouTube on the Leighton Penrose / Leading Social Agency YouTube channel. And then if you want to kind of drop me a personal note, my Instagram is Leighton Penrose.
brilliant. Thanks, Mel, Leighton. Appreciate you coming on.
All right. Appreciate you having me, brother.
Yeah, likewise. And best of luck with the rest of the holiday.
Cheers, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Best of
No
luck with
worries.
the rest of your week.
Thanks, Mel.